What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Cly, and welcome back to Budget Tubing. Now today, I'm going to be taking a look at the Paladou Lavalier microphone. And like a lot of my more recent reviews, this product was once again provided free of charge by Paladou, but no additional compensation exchanged hands, so all views presented herein are my own. That out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this box, shall we? Now that I've got the case open, let me go ahead and gush about it for a little bit, because this microphone is going to cost you in the neighborhood of $20 on Amazon, and it comes with a case. I've got lavalier mics that cost well over $20, and none of those came with a case. They're all just stuck in whatever I can find to put them in. I'm kind of short on microphone cases at the moment, hence why I had to do a DIY version, and yes, there will be a tutorial for that in the hopefully not too distant future. Okay, now that the case fanboying is out of the way, let's show you what else you get. First off, you get the lavalier microphone itself, which is a jack-powered mic meant to be used with smartphones. However, that's not the only case. I'll talk more about that in actually a couple seconds. Next up, you have an extension cable, which gives you an additional 2 meters of cord, which, if I'm not mistaken, this also has 2 meters on it. You also get a little adapter that allows you to use the microphone with computers, cameras, anything other than a smartphone, really. I'm glad this is in here, actually, because I'm mostly going to be using this with either portable recorders or with my desktop, so good on that. And last but not least, we have a couple of little wind puffs. And no, I'm not going to be doing my little rant about wind puffs versus pop filters, because this is a lavalier mic and typically you don't put a pop filter on those, but you do use them in areas where you're actually going to have a lot of external wind. Okay, let's get the accessories out of the way and talk about the microphone itself for a second. Specifically, this right here, this little silicone strap that is actually sort of part of the cable, though of course, if you push through, you can take it off and put it on whatever else you want. But once again, I have plenty of lavalier microphones that don't include a feature like that. In fact, here's one of my Audio-Technica labs, and oops, it is being held together with a rubber band. And the oops was because I sent the wind puff flying when I was only trying to remove a cat hair from it. Next up is the clip itself. This clip actually looks identical to the one on the Audio-Technica mic I was just pointing out. Hey, obvious cut break because the wind puff is back. But there is a minor difference, but it will do a great job holding this in place. Next up is the fact that this actually has a full metal body. And actually, the shaft on the plug here also feels like it's metal instead of plastic, and that's a good attention to detail. But so many lavaliers I've used, including ones that cost well over $20. I'm going to harp on that a lot because, well, it's a thing that exists. Don't go with a full metal construction, and even worse, sometimes don't even put a grill here. They'll just have a little top plate with holes drilled in, so kudos on that. Also, I should point out, based on the size of this thing, you're probably wondering if this uses a 9 to 10 millimeter electret capsule, and yes, it does. And once again, do not disparage the electrets because that's kind of what I'm using right now as my lav. Now let's talk about those additional cables you get, because once again, both tips here are full metal, and with this being a 2 meter extender, I should point out that if you're getting the TRRS style, you're not going to be getting these for cheap unless you're ordering from China and taking a couple of months to get your product. I did a bit of digging when looking for adapters a while ago for different purposes back when I was doing the review of the selfie stick with the built-in microphone. Specifically, I needed connectors that did various things with a TRRS connector, both breaking it down into multiple signals and combining it back into a single signal. And even the short ones like this are going to cost you $5 getting them from the United States. And a long one like this, I wouldn't be surprised if you're looking at about 10 bucks. In fact, I can say you're looking at 10 bucks because that's about what I paid in the past for a much shorter cable like this back before I did most of my ordering online. And once again, it comes with the really nice silicone strap. I just love those things. Heck, even these little wind puffs are going to cost you about $1 each when getting them in this size from the United States. So when you put the entire bundle together with the case, the puffs, the extender cable, the adapter cable, the mic itself, and the little binder straps, which actually I wouldn't be surprised if these are like a freaking $1 each, this definitely comes to a decent price. But admittedly, the price per component doesn't mean a dang thing if the mic sounds like crap. So let me plug the microphone into the extender, the adapter, and my computer, and let's see about that.
And welcome to Audacity. Now, unlike my other microphone reviews, I'm not going to be talking about the Paladou Lavalier microphone's recording volume, digital gain levels, or anything like that. And that's because this is an analog microphone, and all of that's going to be determined by the device you have it plugged into. Now, one thing I will be talking about is the device you have it plugged into, because I noticed during my testing of this microphone that it's prone to a very common issue with lavalier microphones that are designed to be used with cameras, smartphones, and things of that nature, and that's the fact that if you plug it into a computer, you run the risk of having some sort of signal interference. I don't know if it's a ground loop or something else, but if you have your laptop plugged in or you're using a desktop, you're most likely going to start hearing a bit of squealing due to just things not being shielded properly either on the microphone or on the computer itself. And when I say it's common, I mean I've had this issue pop up with Audio-Technica lavalier microphones, so even the big boys do it. However, like I just mentioned, this microphone is mainly designed to be used with smartphones, and I just so happen to capture a little bit of that audio, so let's jump to that right now. And this is what the Paladou Lavalier microphone sounds like when recorded on an Android device. Now, admittedly, I don't have the best quality Android device on the market due to the fact that I grabbed what was ever cheapest when my previous phone suffered a very embarrassing death. And no, it didn't involve the toilet, but it more than does the job. Now back to my computer for the audio spectrum analysis. And welcome to Fritcher. Now once again, we are going into this a little bit blind because the manufacturer did not include a frequency response graph in the manual, but if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say this microphone's meant to be responsive in the 100 Hz to 10 kHz range, which is about average for a jack-powered microphone with a 9 to 10 millimeter capsule, kind of like the one I'm wearing right now. Now previously in the video, I did mention that this is an analog microphone, and as such, the audio quality that you're going to be getting out of it is highly impacted by whatever device you have it plugged into. But the inverse is also true, because if you have an amazing sounding audio interface but a low quality microphone, you're going to end up with a pretty low quality recording. And fortunately, during all of the testing that I've done previously, I actually really liked the sound of this microphone, minus the little bit of squealing I had before I solved that issue. So, if you've liked how I've been sounding throughout this test, and especially during the smartphone test, since that's how most of you are probably going to be using it, I'll leave the Amazon link down in the description below, and until next time, this is your guy, Cly, signing off.